We're paying $70 to beta test for billion-dollar studios. Say it out loud. It sounds ridiculous because it is. Not long ago, a gold master meant the disc worked out of the box. Today, the day one patch is the size of the game, and you're lucky if the menu loads. Everyone's yelling about bugs, but the internet's missing the real story. This isn't incompetence, it's incentives. The suits get paid on dates and pre-orders, not stability. We've got receipts. Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 2042, the day before. 3 failure flavors. And the worst part isn't crashes. It's how the business model rewards shipping broken. So let's lay out the pattern. Launch hype front loads revenue. Pre-orders, deluxe bundles, ultimate editions with 72-hour head starts. Cash locked before a single review lands. When your bonuses depend on the launch window, stability takes a backseat to making the window. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how the math lines up. Okay, but actually, pre-orders remove risk. When the money's already in, QA shifts from prevention to containment. Why pay for months of deep testing when you can ship, let millions of players find the edge cases for free and triage with live ops? Feedback at scale is cheaper. Cold, but true. Evidence? Day 1 megabytes have turned into day 1 monoliths. It's normal now to download a patch bigger than the base install. Founder access without a discount gets sold as early access vibes, except this isn't early access pricing or honesty. It's full price with a wink and a waiver. Here's the mechanism the boys keep falling into. Milestone funding. You get paid when you hit feature complete, not bug stable. Investors and publishers look at checklists. Feature parity, content count, core loops implemented. That checkbox signals green light even if the crash logs are screaming. Quarter closes, bonuses fire, and now you're in the live service blender. Compare that to the old gold master culture. You had to nail the build because what shipped lived on that disk. Patches existed, sure, but the baseline expectation was, it runs. Over time, digital distribution softened the edges. Then elastic deadlines crept in. Then, we'll fix it live became the plan, not the backup. The acceptance baseline slid inch by inch until this mess looked normal. Microstory. We've seen shadow drop patches that overhaul rendering, netcode, even progression, stuff that used to be considered core ship criteria. Promises, broken, refunds, issued. And yet, pre-order numbers still looked great because the marketing beats did their job. The money was already cashed. But wait, it gets worse. When you normalize paid betas, you train players to expect pain. That gives cover to push the line again next time. And when the wheels really come off, that's when you see the brand damage that doesn't show up until months later. Let's talk Cyberpunk 2077, broken ambition. The sales pitch promised a next-gen open world across every platform under the sun. Cross-gen promise colliding with next-gen scope. On paper, cool. In practice, old consoles melted. The surface level take was, it's buggy. Everyone saw T-posing, NPCs and cars launching into orbit. The deeper thing nobody wanted to admit at launch, platform parity killed stability. Dates were locked by marketing and quarter targets. Pipelines weren't ready to deliver that scope across aging hardware. That's not a QA miss. That's production locking the target before the rifle's sighted. Receipts? Refund waves. A major storefront temporarily pulled it. The studio did apology tours and spent years rebuilding the tech stack. The raw numbers looked great on day one because hype did its job, but the brand damage was real. It took a long runway of patches, expansions, and goodwill farming to get back to respect. That's a rebuild arc, not a launch plan. Now, Battlefield 2042. Identity crisis, trend chasing over franchise DNA, surface level take, missing core features, chaotic bugs, servers buckling. That alone would sting. But the insight is the dead center. They tried to bolt hero shooter elements and absurd player counts onto a series known for sandbox warfare coherence. The design fragmented, no clear core loop. If you don't know what the fun is, bugs amplify confusion. Even when the netcode behaved, the experience felt like it didn't know itself. Evidence? Player backlash. Content drought. The slow course correct that admitted, piece by piece, the DNA needed restoring. And yeah, lasting brand damage. When a series built on trust tells you it's reinventing the meta, and then ships with the basics missing, you don't just lose players. You train them to wait a year. Waiting a year is death to live service cadence. Then, the day before. Mirage product. Marketing over material. The observation was simple. Trailers promised an MMO survival game with a weirdly pristine polish for a small team. The internet smelled it but wanted to believe. What launched was a barely functional shell. The insight here is about the pipeline. Trailer-first development means you front features that don't exist. You sell the fantasy, then try to backfill the game later. Feature placeholders become marketing artifacts, not deliverables. Receipts, rapid delisting, mass refunds, radio silence. That's textbook hype outrunning production reality. It's the most extreme version of the paid beta culture, because there wasn't even a stable beta under the hood. You're not just testing bugs, you're discovering the outline of a product that never crystallized. Crosscut this. Same root incentives, different flavors. Cyberpunk is tech overreach under hard dates. Battlefield is direction drift, chasing trends over core identity. The day before is outright absence. Marketing running miles ahead of implementation. 3 routes to the same outcome. Players doing QA with their wallets. Now here's the part that kills me. Each of these could have dodged the collapse with boring discipline. Narrow platform targets, delay bonuses that beat launch penalties, honest scope cuts communicated early. Transparent roadmaps with limited betas that actually gate features, not just market them. When studios do that, trust doesn't evaporate. The launch still has bumps, sure, but the relationship survives. Remember when everyone said live service needed constant content drops to survive? Cool, but shipping broken content is worse than shipping less. It's like a restaurant doubling the menu and halving the kitchen staff. You don't impress me with choice if none of it is cooked. Players will take a tight, hot plate over a buffet of underdone ideas every single time. Keeping all of that in mind, ask yourself why the cycle repeats. Because the early money is real. Because the quarterly call rewards we shipped more than we waited. And because lately, enough players bite at launch that the pain looks acceptable on spreadsheets. That's the trap. It trains the market to tolerate droughts of quality while the suits pat themselves on the back for hitting dates. So here's the incentive stack. Pre-order economics front-load the cash. Money hits before reviews, before performance videos, before digital foundry breakdowns. Hype becomes the product. You don't need a clean launch when the bag's already secured. Investor timelines make it worse. Quarter beats quality. A delay gets labeled brand risk. Shipping now gets labeled cash now. That pressure flows downhill into milestone checklists. Hit feature complete, unlock funding. Hit content parity, unlock the next tranche. None of that says stable at scale. It says green light the press tour. Now, scope creep meets engine churn. New hardware cycles, new tools, custom engines getting reinvented mid-project. Unfamiliar pipelines become bug factories. Every system touches 5 others. You fix the animation rig and break streaming. You optimize memory and break UI logic. Regression testing balloons and the calendar doesn't care. Talent churn finishes the job. Seniors burn out. Leads swap studios. Institutional knowledge leaks out the door. The same bug you killed 2 years ago respawns because the one engineer who knew the trap left. Multiply that by platforms and regions and certification quirks. Test coverage becomes a joke. Then there's the live service mindset. Community becomes QA. Sentiment turns into triage. We'll fix it live becomes the plan, not the parachute. You roll out a hotfix that introduces a new exploit, then a server-side patch to strangle the exploit that tanks performance. Players do the load testing you didn't budget. Platform pressure piles on. Parity and crossplay multiply permutations. Lowest common denominator rules decisions. Instead of optimizing per box, you sand down features to meet the widest matrix. The end result? No SKU feels best in class at launch. Put it together, money early, dates locked, scope bloated, tools shifting, veterans leaving, community as safety net. It's not one villain. It's a stack that rewards shipping good enough and punishes the boring move. Wait, cut, polish. And when a few launches still print money, the spreadsheet says the pain is acceptable. That's why it keeps happening. Hard gates. Build a ship readiness scorecard tied to bonuses. Crash rate, performance targets, certification passes. Delay bonuses bigger than launch penalties so the boring choice wins. Transparent roadmaps. Run limited scope betas with clear goals. Feed real feedback into scope cuts, not marketing slides. If a mode isn't ready, say so and push it. Scope discipline. Staggered releases with honest targets per platform. Stop pretending parity is free. Community contracts. Refund guarantees and public platform performance promises. Miss it? Make it right fast. Proof simple. Teams that do this rebuild trust. You can see it in word of mouth. When Polish shows, sales recover. The boys earn time back and the droughts shrink. I hear the pushback. Games are bigger, systems are wild, platforms multiply. True. Complexity explains bugs. It doesn't justify selling unfinished builds at premium pricing. Smaller scopes ship stable. Indies and AA teams cut features early and land clean more often. Cutting up front beats patching forever. You pay either way. Paying before launch protects your brand. Paying after burns it. Here's the analogy. Airlines don't sell takeoff now, land later. Safety first, then schedule. If a jet isn't ready, you delay and comp the passengers. You don't throw it in the air and troubleshoot over the ocean. Players accept delays with clear communication and receipts. Show builds, share targets, explain cuts. Most people will wait if you respect their time and money. And if it's live service? Price it like early access and label it honestly. Lower price, evolving roadmap, no pre-order traps. Call it a beta, not a launch, and set expectations correctly. If you want beta forgiveness, wear the beta label. Otherwise, ship a finished product. Here's what I think is really happening. Design KP is replace joy. Dashboards over playfulness. Engagement targets shape nerfs, not fun. You see churn spike, you sand down outliers. You kill the weird toys because they break the spreadsheet. Plot twist. Launch readiness becomes a checkbox. Did we hit X hours retained, Y dailies, Z conversion? But the toy energy isn't there. The game doesn't hum. It just processes you. Teams that protect toy energy, tight sandboxes, bold mechanics, time to jam, tend to ship better. Not perfect, better. Studios that delay for polish and protect the toy feel will pull share from the farms. Fun scales harder than retention hacks. We're not asking for perfection. We're asking for finished builds that respect time and money, and for studios to stop treating players like free QA with a receipt. Drop the worst launch you paid for and what would have kept your trust. If you've sworn off pre-orders, when did you stop and what finally did it? If you haven't, tell me what would change your mind. Subscribe for takes the suits won't like. I read the comments, I argue back, and I'll pin the best counterpoint, even if it makes me eat crow. Leave a like if you enjoyed, because if you're still here, I don't see why you wouldn't.